currently working as a consultant with
I realize वो airport से connected है अभी
supporting them in developing for Puducherry and MP governments. She was also involved in setting up the district of Telangana, building capacity of internal team and in turn working with ICDS personnel in creating vibrant Anganwadis with high quality ECE programs. Dr. Jigisha has also worked extensively with the Department of Women and Child Development, Government of Gujarat for developing peaceful development.
I mean, I'm here, but I'm on some teams and something else. Okay.
Trainers at state level. This is being implemented in the 54,000 plus Anganwadis across the state. She was also in collaboration with the Human Development and Family Studies Department at MS University of Baroda and was involved in teaching, research and also practice. Her contribution has also extended to both private and government sectors and with the UNICEF in curriculum development. Besides writing research papers and reports, Dr. Jigisha has developed different modules for early childhood practitioners and also activity books for children. She has done doctorate in Human Development and Family Studies and have guided students for master's research and also doctoral thesis. Dr. Jigisha has been elected by World Forum Foundation as Global Leader from India for the year 2009 and 10. As part of this, she brought synergy between the group of pediatricians and early childhood professionals to optimize the development of children. Thank you for being part of this conference and over to you.
Thank you for this very warm introduction. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, Jigisha Ben, we can. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you to Mount Carmel College, Bangalore, and especially to Dr. Sujata for this invite here to talk about a topic that I am very interested in and passionate about. So I'm going to share about various opportunities that exist in the field of early childhood care and education. Just give me a, by the way, and thanks to Katie for a wonderful presentation on such a sensitive topic. Huh? Give me a minute till I just open up. Is that visible?
Yes, it is. You can put it in the slideshow, I think.
I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think it is. Is it taking the slideshow? I don't think it is doing so.
No, it's not, but it's fine. I think then you can, if it is not happening, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Great. So what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about ECCE, the concept of early childhood care and education. And though I know most of you must be very well acquainted with it, I'm going to talk a little bit about that and then go on to the scope that exists and further on. Sujata, if I overshoot the time, please just let me know.
Okay? Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So there are a lot of acronyms or phrases by which we have literature on early childhood, and we talk about programs on early childhood, and they could be ECE and ECCE and ECD. And one of the comprehensive definitions that I find is by UNICEF on early childhood development, and it tells us about um, uh, how do we look at early childhood and the programs? And we talk about children from birth to 8 years and their parents and caregivers. It is also about children's rights and development and a holistic development, taking care of all the 6 domains of development. And it also is about reaching out to communities and making communities an integral part of child development programs. Also including or integrating the psychosocial stimulation part or the early childhood care and education part with health, nutrition, water, environmental sanitation, etc. Right? Basically, the whole goal of early years intervention is to protect the right of the children and to see that they have optimal survival growth and development opportunities. I'm recapping this to give an idea that what all opportunities exist in the field of early childhood education. So looking at closer at the policy that we first had on early childhood in India in 2013, again, not only birth to so this policy talks about birth to 6 years. It is a policy for early childhood care and education, unlike the definition that I just read for early child development. And this policy does add conception to birth. So it's talking about conception to 6 years of age, and again is talking about an integrated look at early childhood in terms of psychosocial stimulation, health, nutrition, care, protection, and providing an enabling environment to the children. Come NEP 2020, which has brought so much excitement to all the early childhood specialists. And NEP is also talking about early years from conception, but is now extending, unlike the ECCE policy, is extending the age to 8 years. And for those of you who've been exposed to NEP 2020, early childhood or the foundation years, as they are saying, is now they're going to look at the whole span from 3 to 8 years as the foundation age period. So the expansion of looking at programs for and about children is now from conception to 8 years of age, and widens the umbrella of the work that we can do with young children. The policy is also talking about expansion of EC programs, especially Anganwadis, preparatory classes attached to existing primary schools, taking ECC to ashram shalas, which is not existing today. It is also providing an emphasis on, or it is also laying an emphasis on bringing foundational literacy and pre-numeracy to early childhood programs, saying that multiple modes of capacity building for existing Anganwadi workers should exist, certificate programs, diploma programs, and in the long term, India hopes to have a professionally qualified cadre of ECC professionals, okay? And that again means that number of opportunities increasing for training institutes, expansion of training institutes, as well as trainers for early childhood years. So all these, the whole background is giving us an idea of the range of career opportunities that exist for early childhood education. These opportunities can be looked at from 3 frames. One is the people that we can cater to, where our career opportunities lie, the content that we can develop, or the content that we can explore in our careers, and the contexts in which we can build our careers. So people, obviously children, we are talking about early years and young children, birth to 8 years of age, their parents, teachers, other people attached to schools and programs like the supervisors or administrators or head teachers, definitely policymakers, because they bring the changes, right? NEP is going to bring about all this change that happens in giving importance, though there is a lot of work being done in the area of early childhood. I think it is going to get the impetus now that NEP 2020 is into place. The content that we can explore for our careers, development, understanding children's development. Both Dr. Shagufa's and yesterday Dr. Rekha's presentations giving us an idea of where early childhood is in the whole span of human development, and especially the research opportunities that Dr. Rekha was mentioning about as to understand children and their development, what all researches can we engage in, and all these are about careers that we can create as researchers, trying to understand children and their development and its implication on the intervention programs that we further on create. The content for curriculum for children, curriculum for professionals to understand and build their capacities, curriculum for or content that we need, authentic content to advocate early childhood development principles to people, parenting, a topic that was of interest to so many people yesterday during Dr. Shagufa's talk. So all these are contents that we can develop, we can intervene in, and are related to the kind of program interventions that can be created, developed. Contexts in which we can intervene. Home, of course, a lot of home-based programs. Even homeschooling, for that matter, is becoming very popular now, though not very common. But more and more people are opting for homeschooling for their children. Schools, obviously, all there, everywhere. More and more schools coming up, and we need better quality schools for our children. Community interventions. Which not only include the community interventions, which maybe some of you have done, where we go to communities and have this community meetings and talk to neighborhood groups, etc., but also intervening in terms of with your corporations and state governments in terms of designing and developing play spaces and parks for children, community centers for children, etc. So these three are the frames that give us an idea of the scope that is existing for the kind of careers that we can build up. Coming to very specific opportunities, development of new programs, and also participating in existing programs. So we have and we need more programs for children from birth to 2 years of age, infant toddler programs where with and without parents. There are a lot of infant toddler programs which are coming up where parents, mothers especially, or the primary caregivers and toddlers participate in these programs. Preschools, of course, and now with the foundation years concept coming into place, even the early primary years. Just to mention here that lot of human development departments had already, before NEP came into place, had already started talking about early years expanding till 8 years of age. The field of ECC has been saying this since, I should say, decades, but a lot of university departments are teaching about it, and a lot of their intervention programs also include interventions into or placing students in early primary grades. Say, taking an example from my own department where I studied, the MS University of Baroda Human Development Family Studies Department, we had student placements. Since years, we have been placing students in first and second grade early primary years, and we have been successful in a lot of schools accepting our early years students as early primary grade teachers also. So creating those kind of opportunities, and now with NEP in place, there will be more such opportunities. Recreation and hobby programs that exists, or people can begin these programs. Holistic development programs for young children, evening programs, extracurricular activity programs, whatever you want to call it, community outreach programs, places for or opportunities for early childhood specialists in orphanages, programs for street children, migrant groups. Azim Premji Foundation, with which I am so closely associated, has a special program for children of migrant laborers, where the foundation partners with the builders themselves, and the people who migrate have, so the builders put in financial aid to have early stimulation programs for preschool children, which of course expand for these centers to older children also. And there are other programs that you know already exist for migrant groups, right? So what can we do? What kind of roles do we perform in these centers? Teachers, daycare workers, so actually engaging with children directly, supervisors or administrators of heads of program, where we can mentor and guide programs so that the programs which are under our headship or where we are mentoring are developmentally appropriate, play-based, high-quality programs. Career opportunities as curriculum designers, curriculum developers for preschool program, or for say programs for learning difficulties, or with learning, early literacy and early numeracy coming into place, specific programs for beginning language and math and integrating it into the early years programs. So these are the kind of work opportunities that exist, both desk work, where people design programs, and actual intervention work. So there are some careers which offer both designing programs and helping implement them, or either of it that exists. The other programs where your understanding of children and their development comes into, helps you, is designing teaching learning materials, designing toys and play material, writing stories for children. Those of you who are interested already, sites like Pratham Story Weaver gives you an opportunity to write stories. They help you develop them and edit them, and you can put them on the sites and other people can access it, and you can get feedback and get into the profession of writing stories for young children, designing text content books and workbooks for children. This is also something that's very exciting and interesting. A lot of us have problems with the kind of books that our young children are exposed to, and especially exposed to through schools, and whereas commercial books that children have to flip through or work on are some things that we feel are very inappropriate. And this is one field where I think a lot of young people who have a strong developmental orientation can contribute to. Especially here, I would like to mention that there are books in English language which are available, good quality books, but what is still lacking in India is mother language books or state language books. And so say for children who want to learn a state language, and how do you do it, or just activity books, or which are helping children learn different concepts of say big and small, or seriation, or matching, and those books present in contact with contextual pictures and the state's language are missing. And this is one area where those of you who are creative and feel you can contribute is a very open and promising area. Me and a group of friends, we developed books for workbooks for children which are designed for English medium children who want to learn Gujarati, which is their mother tongue, or which is my own mother tongue, in ways which are positive, which include emergent literacy ideas. So that's the role that we can play. Counselors. You just had an alumnus of Mount Carmel College talking about, I think Shreya talking about her role as a counselor, and almost all schools now have openings for counselors, and students of human development and family studies and students of early childhood education with a strong theoretical developmental orientation can do a wonderful job of counseling, intervening and helping children and parents or teachers for that matter in optimizing children's learning and development. Another opening, again directly, where you can directly engage with children is early identification, which I think Dr. Geeta will talk about in the next talk. But early identification and related programs. One of the things that is also kind of, I haven't mentioned, but related to early identification, development of assessment tools. Because when we are talking about content of understanding our children and development, unfortunately in India, the information about our own children is still in a nascent stage. And we want a lot of information about our own children in developing in their own context. As you know, we are such a everything multi society. I feel just using the word multicultural, is really not describing us in India. Multi-language, multi-culture, multi-play, multi-ways of, everything is so different and contextual, and we need information about our children growing up in, say, tribal areas and rural areas and in urban slums and in urban higher class homes, and this doesn't happen. This information, there is a dearth of information, and we need a lot of information if we want to help our children and want to cater to their learning and development in the context in which they are developing. Again, we, together with, say, Dr. Rekha, who presented yesterday, and our whole team of Azim Premji University and Foundation, a couple of years back, we have come up with an assessment tool for holistic development, assessing holistic development of preschool children. And it's fascinating the kind of information that we are getting, which a lot of us knew intuitively as to how our children differ. I think Dr. Shagufa did give us some idea about how development and people are different, and the information is different in different cultures. So even for children for that matter, and how they are different and how their developmental milestones for that matter are different. And these kind of indigenous tool development will definitely contribute a lot. And let me tell you, in this process where so many of us in our in different stages of our career were involved in this tool development, the major documentation was done by a very young person, a fresh master's student. I think I forgot where in Bangalore she had done her undergrad program, and in Vadodara her master's program, and she was such a highly contributing member, and those kind of opportunities are very much open, especially in institutes which are doing researches and institutions where a lot of work on children and their development and intervention is being documented, and in university departments. And of course, career opportunities for development programs for children with challenges. And so a colleague and a friend of mine is having a center for children with special needs, where the program that she gives is from the development perspective. So a play-based developmentally oriented program, ideas that we would carry to a preschool curriculum are the ideas that she uses with her understanding of children and development, and designing programs to suit the needs and skill level and skill sets of those children who come to her with challenges with much success. Working with adults is another area. Already I talked about counseling, advocacy programs. Schools want people to come and address their parents on different topics, helping them convince. Lot of schools now already have begun approaching some of us to help them modify, adapt their curriculum to the ideas that are being presented in NEP 2020. They also want early childhood professionals to come forward and design advocacy programs where they can address this, these professionals can address parents directly in helping schools convince the parents into kind of developing developmentally appropriate play-based programs. I'm sure all of you are aware that a lot of our schools still emphasize on rote memorization of reading, writing, math, and so do parents. I mean, no doubt that literacy is very important, developing skills of reading, writing, and math are very important, but the way they are being done, the appropriate way in which you want to reach out to children, and that's the whole space that's open for young professionals to intervene in. Reaching out to parents through media, through other organizations. As adults, teachers are another body that we can reach out to. Capacity building of teachers. A lot of our teachers, even today, come with no or very little ECCE background, right? Our existing institutions which offer diploma, certificate, degree courses on early childhood education are not sufficient to meet the needs of the number of teachers that our schools want. And therefore, these schools, which is so positive, have continuously in-service programs planned, and therefore young professionals should reach out to these schools and develop capacity building programs for teachers and implement them. So this is one area which is there. And of course, then the whole policy making body that's there. People there also need not have the right kind of information. And we need to be strong advocates in whichever platform that is possible, wherever we are, and advocate the kind of child development and early childhood care and education programs that we want for our children. And when I'm talking about, so when I say development programs and care and education, I'm trying to differentiate, or rather I'm trying to bring in also not the typical education programs. So say what Katie said about children who are abused, or say what Preeti was talking about yesterday about children who are hospitalized, right? When you expand your horizon, there are so many spaces and places that we can contribute and advocate where information about children and their development is so very essential in helping our children get a more holistic, positive life. Even as far as policy making bodies, like I told you, how a young person was involved in documenting for us when we were designing that tool. I know a lot of people, a lot of us would not know that child development or human development master's person was there coordinating all the activities that happened for NEP 2002, National Policy on Early Childhood Care and Education 2013 to come into place. Again, proudly to say a master's graduate of the Vadodara department who was actually coordinating all these efforts, and therefore to tell young people that these are possibilities that exist for all of us. I hope I'm not shooting my time. Community, I already mentioned, as a space where we can intervene, designing parks, advocating for parks and play spaces in the first scope. Then these, yes?
Ma'am, another 2 minutes.
Okay, I'll just rush through that. Then designing parks and display spaces and learning areas. Okay, media is one space that has lots and lots of opportunity. There are younger people now anchoring children's programs. Some of you who are creative can create programs and put them on YouTubes, and there are now even government departments are using digital platforms to reach out to people. So say the state curriculum, I'm taking here the example of Gujarat, which is placed on the digital platform together with small video clippings on how to conduct those activities. Writing is another thing. Non-conventional kind of professions like planning, designing children's parties and events, creating mementos for children, and they're recording their pathways of growth and development, which parents find it so interesting. Higher education institutes are one space that you can all intervene. You can get go and work in, and which give you the best opportunities for all three: research, teaching, and practice. Yesterday, Dr. Rekha did mention a lot of these organizations that already work for and with and about children, and which have opportunities. I would want to emphasize on ICDS as a great bed of opportunity. I think our own graduates with human development and early childhood specialization should opt for the positions of a supervisor and a CDPO, and which will help wonderfully in creating quality programs at all levels. CSR projects, again mentioned yesterday. A very important point that I want to say is that what all I said is not really the end of it. Please learn to create your own niches and just go forward. Dr. Preeti's work is one such example. She's really gone every time she comes to India. She sees to it that she reaches out to people and she discusses and talks to and advocates to hospitals to create child life units and child life programs into different spaces. Something that she as a single individual, frankly, has been doing and has been successful in starting in a lot of places in India. Or say Dr. Rekha's own effort in bringing early childhood education programs through a distance education mode to all of us, not only doing that, but getting accreditation from national bodies to recognize these programs that are offered through distance education modes. Advocating to government and other organizations. I think we all need, and I'm sure you people have many more ideas where you can create your own pathways. How do you prepare yourself? And this, frankly, I cannot emphasize enough. Please, 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 please have a very strong theoretical understanding about children and development. That takes you everywhere. That brings a conviction to the programs that you are designing, to the ideas that you are advocating, and together with experience of working with children. I know it sounds very exciting, and in our early stages, we suddenly want to go international and do a lot of supposedly exotic roles, but start from scratch. Please work with children directly. Please work with grassroots levels directly. The kind of insights that you will gain in those first few years of your life will make your careers, will help you fly in your careers. I think that's so important. And here I'm saying this is important even for university departments to recognize that we want our students to be placed in as many different programs as possible while they are learning and while they are trying to gain understanding about child development in early years, because the transformation of knowledge that comes from bridging this theoretical and practice gap is very important and beneficial. So thank you. I think Sujata, I just made